Last week, we brought you the story of two Innu men left traumatized by a false detainment by Quebec Provincial Police. They were stopped at gunpoint on ancestral territory. Police say it was a case of mistaken identity. But in hindsight, the men say the incident reeks of racial profiling.
Au quartier, à centrale, Bécama. On est à Tabo, on a mieux d'un endormissant. Oui, si. Ah, je t'ai dit, on me l'a donné, hash. Né, qui s'y en a, toi, il y a comme je dois en bout dans l'eau. Et moi, il y a des belles. Et on est dans le Bon, ben, on est le Haitian et.
The issue caught the attention of Quebec's Indigenous Affairs Minister and the province's police watchdog, the BEI. Also on their radar, the incident now known as the Camara affair. Mamadi Camara, a black PhD student, was arrested and charged with attempted murder of a Montreal police officer. He was held for 6 days before being released with all charges dropped after highway camera footage showed another assailant, not Camara, attacking the officer.
That footage led to the conclusion that he was not involved. There was another male that was involved in the assault of the police officer. The images and pictures don't lie. So we can use that as the best example as to why video footage or body cams footage and everything else can be very, very valuable.
The Montreal-based Centre for Research Action on Race Relations handles racial profiling complaints against police. Last summer, Montreal Police Force, known as the SPVM, introduced a policy meant to end random street checks, a practice which disproportionately targets Indigenous women and people of color. But cases like Camara's are reigniting calls for police to be equipped with body-worn cameras. Niemi says this type of footage can make or break a profiling case once it's before the courts.
It's about changing police practices, changing police behaviors and conduct, enhancing democracy, enhancing transparency, and the cost of not having accountability, not changing police practices and conduct can cost us much.
After Camara's public exoneration, Montreal's opposition parties filed a motion requesting body cams for all SPVM officers, something Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante said she supported.
It is definitely one of the tools that is necessary, and I'm definitely for it.
Madame la Mairesse.
But during last week's City Council meeting, the Plante administration blocked the motion, saying they needed more time to discuss. And as the debate plays out, some activists and researchers urge caution.
What we're doing with these cameras is we're actually putting a tool in the hands of the police. And what we've been asking for is to put tools in the people of the citizens. And that's not what we're doing here, and that's not going to produce accountability.
Justin Doucette co-authored an op-ed in the Montreal Gazette taking a data-based look at the issue.
Yale University's Law Journal, they published a study in 2016, and they found that jurors, when they're shown video evidence of alleged police misconduct, they were no more likely to decide against the officer than if they were presented non-video evidence. For example, the testimony of a victim. So that tells us in the judicial process, if a defendant or a complainant even had access to video footage from a body cam and could present it in court, this kind of evidence doesn't actually carry the weight that we think it does.
But in Northern Quebec, officers with the Nunavik Police Service say body cams are improving outcomes.
It's hard to put a number, but when we started the project, we've been told that it would use of force incident either by or against the police, and we did see a decrease in use of force during that year in Kuujjuaq.
Following a successful pilot project in Kuujjuaq, Mercier says officers in all 14 communities in Nunavik will be equipped with body cams come fall. Mercier says use of force cases are down by half, and clear procedure is their key to success.
The more the procedure is complicated, the more you're going to get problems with. If there's too many circumstances that the police officer can or cannot record, that's when it's getting messed up, and the officers are not going to use it properly. But when it's simple and straightforward, that's when it's going to work well.
Nunavik police officers are ordered to record any intervention involving domestic violence, impaired driving, or, quote, extraordinary circumstances. They're not allowed to film in hospitals, in churches, in situations with nudity, or where there are privacy concerns. Officers are ordered to turn in a written report explaining why they chose to film or not to film. But some people remain adamant that any tool put in the hands of police will ultimately be used for the police's benefit.
We need to stop looking for quick fixes, and we need to start asking fundamental questions of what makes a safer society for Indigenous people and for racialized communities.
So the question remains, will the unblinking camera become an omnipresent, impartial witness, or a tool for the status quo to manipulate an agenda? The conversation continues. Lindsay Richardson, APTN National News, Montreal.